everyone! Welcome to another 1v1 battle. I'm bringing the Warriors of Chaos for the first time with the new DLC and their new units against the Greenskins. My army here, we have on the flanks 2 Chaos Warriors with great weapons each. In the center, I have 2 Chaos Marauders with great weapons, being led by Sigvald. We have 3 Aspiring Champions, because you can only bring 3 in the quick battles, which is probably for a good reason. We'll cover that later. I'm also bringing the Chaos Sorcerer Fire on his new fancy Manticore mount. We have a group of unarmored trolls over here, and then 2 Forsaken on the wings. And then over here we have Marauder Horse Masters with a Manticore, Chaos Pharaoh Manticore, and then another Horse Master over here that is now currently firing their javelins at a squig herd, of which there are 2. One, they were both Vanguard deployed by the Greenskins. The main battle line of the Greenskins here is kind of just an old standard Greenskin build, which I was surprised. I thought there'd be a lot more goblins, but we had just a front line of Orc Biggins, Grimgore, we have a Rusty Errors, and the Goblin Archer backed up by 1 Black Orc and the Crimson Killers. Then on the wings we have 2 Orc Boarboy Biggins. And then also there's a Goblin Shaman right in here. So a little mix from what used to be the standard Greenskin build. I mean, they've mixed in, you know, the Rusty Errors. They have a Night Goblin Shaman, which I think you usually saw the Orc Shaman, but Night Goblin Shaman is still super solid. And then, of course, the addition of the Squig Herds out here is going to be new. But besides that, main battle line of Orc Biggins, it's hard to beat. It's a hard build to beat. Like, Orc Biggins just looks really good. So right now, I am using our brand new Horse Masters. Again, I brought 2 of them just because I wanted to test them. They have a pretty high weapon strength, so as long as your javelins hit, it's going to be pretty good. So I'm just kind of hounding these Squig Herds over here, doing the same thing over here, chasing them with my Pharaoh Manticore currently, and my Horse Masters. And then I'm going to start firing into these Orc Boarboy Biggins. The Horse Masters with their 37? Yeah, 37 missile damage is going to do actually pretty good against Orc Boarboys and just the standard Biggins, because they have only a 50 in armor, so it's going to block some of the damage, but their Marauder Horse Master's damage is high enough that a lot's going to get through, and you're going to see as they're throwing javelins, it kind of does a lot to these unshielded, kind of mid-armored ranged cab right there. Also, the Horse Masters have a speed of 90, whereas the Orc Biggins have a speed of like 62 or 70? 62! So they have no chance to catch the Horse Masters on their own. If this person brought like a Wolf Rider, then that's a different story. But also the Squig Herds I think are even slower than the Orc Boys, or maybe slightly faster. Oh, actually they're slightly faster. They have a speed of 70. But still, neither of them can catch a Horse Master or Marauder Horsemen. God, let me just... The way that they say... I like it and I hate it. When you select a Marauder Horseman, and you're like, Marauder Horseman! You know, and they get like really deep at the men part. I'm like, why'd you read the line like that? What? Anyway, it's a little pet peeve of mine, but it's also not, because like I just kind of come to enjoy it. But anyway, these Rusty Arrows are being pulled up, and they outrange our Marauder Horse Masters. I decided to stay in this fight a little bit longer than I probably should have, because I know that they have a high weapon damage, so I thought, maybe we can make them rout really quickly. No. Even the Goblin Archers, especially these Rusty Arrows, which are bringing their armor down to like in the teens, is going to outbeat a skirmishing cav. But over here, we are going to try and nail these Goblin Archers with my Pharaoh Manticore and do some damage with it, as our Marauder Horsemen, Horse Masters keep throwing in their javelins. And then over here, I throw my Chaos Sorcerer of Fire into these Rusty Errors, who are now, and he's not going to be chased off by these Orc Boarboy Biggins, but I'm going to use this time to just throw in some more javelins into this clump of troops, as our main line is finally getting to the Greenskin line. For once, the Greenskins didn't charge, they just kind of held the line here. So these 2 Orc Biggins are going to go up against our Chaos Marauders. Not going to fare well in this matchup, but I'm going to be throwing Sigvald, these Aspiring Champions, and these Trolls into this fight as well. Now, I wasn't really thinking here... the Trolls are unarmored, so these Orc Biggins who have a bonus versus large are going to do really well against them. I only threw them in there because I wanted this battle for the Trolls and these Aspiring Champions to be kind of like the bodyguards of Prince Sigvald. Because like in the tabletops, at least in like 40k, you can assign, you know, special characters to leaders and make like these crazy like command groups that are really strong, and that's what I was kind of going with here, is a group of Trolls, Aspiring Champions, and Sigvald. But in reality, or like, if I was thinking more, I would have kept the Chaos Trolls out of this fight, because they are really bad against Biggins. But not like the worst, but that's not their ideal fight. Like, these Black Orcs would be their ideal fight that are over here currently, that are coming into our right flank. Speaking about flanks, though, on this flank over here, I'm going to slow down for a moment. Our Manticore got caught, and I wasn't able to pull them out, so I was like, okay, let's just do this. So I kept them in there, and the entire time, these Marauder Horsemasters were just kind of throwing the javelins down the field. So you can see we have almost destroyed this Orc Boar Boy. We did some damage to the Goblin Archer and some damage to these Orc Biggins. For trading of a Feral Manticore, it's okay, I guess. The Orc Boar Biggins are like 900, and, you know, another mixed cost, like, it may have paid its cost, maybe. But over here, the fight went a lot better for us, and is, well, currently going a lot better for us, because I sent one of our Forsaken around the flanks, and they're getting into these Rusty Arrows. The Forsaken, which I don't use that much, I probably should. You can see the weapon strength right now is at 64 because they've kicked in their Frenzy. That is insanely high. And the Forsaken, I brought 2 of them specifically because I was expecting to fight a lot more Goblins due to the nature of the DLC being released, and the Forsaken are going to do pretty well against Goblins. And I think they especially will do well even against Nasty Skulkers who have an armor piercing against them, only because their high weapon damage and pretty decent stats is probably going to throw the combat in the Forsaken's favor. And as long as Nasty Skulkers are losing combat, they won't proc their opportunistic murderer trait, which is kind of what makes them insane. So I think Forsaken may be a safe bet, but I don't know. I haven't been able to test it because there are no Nasty Skulkers in this battle. But in the whole time of this happening, the Forsaken tearing down these Rusty Arrows, we have these Horsemasters perched on this hill, just throwing javelins into these Orc Boar Boys and doing a lot of damage. You can see these Chaos Warriors have routed off this Orc Biggin. In the middle, we have our Chaos Sorcerer along with Sigvald and the Aspiring Champions. Still just doing work with these basic Chaos Marauders with great weapons supporting them against these Biggins. The right flank is not doing as well because Grimgor went in there, the Crimson Killers went in there, the Black Orcs went in there. So I'm actually pulling out my forces a little bit to buy time for us to get enough Winds of Magic so I can at least buff them in. So we're going to buff them, we're going to buff these Forsaken and these Aspiring Champions. Now really, none of these units are good against Black Orcs. It's not their ideal, but I was being chased by them. I can't really outrun Black Orcs, at least not enough to pull away. I mean, maybe the Forsaken can, but I need to halt these guys anyway, so I'm like, you know what, let's do it. So we're going to go in here, we're going to do what damage we can. We're going to do what damage we can. And luckily, the Trolls were shrouded from the Biggins a little while ago are going to come back from routing into these Black Orcs. Now, these Trolls are going to do pretty well against Black Orcs. Like, this is a pretty good matchup for these unarmored Trolls over there. Over here, these Aspiring Champions are just getting kind of finished off by these Orc Biggins, which is unfortunate. You can see the amount of damage we have dealt to the Orc Boar Boy Biggins back here. I'm throwing in another group of Forsaken. This is the group of Forsaken that was over here that routed off the Rusty Arrows. Now, I think this fight is okay. The Biggins and the Boar Boy Biggins have a 50 armor, so the Forsaken can still do a lot of damage. The problem here, because our morale is holding pretty high, this is the problem. This Squig Herd, which is anti-armor, anti-infantry, comes back from routing and is going to get behind our Forsaken, and you're going to see there the battle turns really quickly. Really quickly. So those Forsaken are now going to be thrown to the Wolves, or thrown to the Squigs in this case. But over here, at least this one group of Black Orcs has been taken down a lot by our Trolls, Aspiring Champions, and our Forsaken. So that's good. And then the Crimson Killer is over here fighting against Sigvald. Now, Sigvald, I did take the item which allows him to regenerate, so he's going to, thankfully, be able to regenerate through some of this. Yeah, he's just taking these to Crimson Killers by himself. Nightgoblin Shaman has been very annoying, casting a lot of debuffs and buffs in this battle, but I've been doing the exact same with our Chaos Sorcerer of Fire. I've been doing the Cascading Flame Cloak and the Flaming Sword of Ruin, Fire Sword of Ruin, I can't remember what it's called. But those are the 2 spells that I took with the Chaos Sorcerer of Fire there. Now over here, my Forsaken are finally routed. My Manticore, which came back from routing, is routed again. But buying time from these Orc Boar Boy Biggins, these Orc Biggins, and these Squig Herds, we were buying time for like everything else to do its job. So we routed these Black Orcs, and without the assistance of this group of forces, we were able to route them pretty quickly. I think if these Biggins and everything were mixed in with these Black Orcs on the right flank, that would have been a much different battle. So the sacrifice of Forsaken and our Manticore is not going to go unnoticed. These Crimson Killers are going to be brought low by Sigvald and the remaining Chaos Warriors with great weapons that we have. I think this is the last group that we have. We have, actually, we have one group, I think, back here. Oh, no, those are Marauder Horsemasters. Never mind. So I think these are our only Chaos Warriors left. We still have Aspiring Champions, obviously, and they are going to now be tanking Grimgor. I'm going to do what I can to ignore Grimgor, but I am going to throw some damage in here with these Chaos Marauder Great Weapons, and then the Aspiring Champions to hold him in place, while my Chaos Sorcerer is now on just kind of routing duty, jumping from unit to unit to keep them routed. Same thing with my Horsemasters, which are not here, but they will come back soon. They were routing, but they'll be back soon, and they're going to be in the back line doing some routing charges. Same thing with our Forsaken back there. While Sigvald and these Trolls and other Aspiring Champions, the great or Chaos Warriors, are going to be dealing with these Orc Biggins over here. pretty cool. Also, I'll get a close look on these aspiring champions when we do the cinematic view. But yeah, Sigvald, even though he was taking those the Crimson Killers, you can see he's regenerated a lot of his hit points, and is still regenerating right now. So I think Sigvald is pretty cool. When he was given the regeneration item back in, when did he get that? It was some patch, right? I can't even remember. But basically, when he got that, he became not bad. I don't think he's like nearly the best Chaos leader you can bring, but he's cool, man. That's why I brought him, because he's cool. And regeneration is always nice, but mostly just because he's cool. If you really want to win, like, you should bring, you know, Kolek or a new build that I'll go over here in a moment, including a Chaos Lord probably. But Sigvald's just still cool. So anyway, now you can see a lot of troops are routing. I'm still trying to like kind of ping pong back and forth between them to keep them routing with our Chaos Sorcerer and our Forsaken. We routed off those biggins, and so now we're on Grimgor here with our full might of what's left, and they are going to rout because Grimgor is not unbreakable. So he is susceptible to morale checks, and since his army is now running across the hills or into the hills, he is going to fail his morale, and that's going to do it. So at the end here, we still had some Marauder Horsemen or Horse Masters back here, which came back from routing. We have more. Actually, I think the other group may have just died. No, wait, are they in here? I think they're actually in here. There's like a couple in. Anyway, doesn't matter. We have some aspiring yeah, there they are right there. Aspiring champions left. Of course, we had Sigvald and some Chaos Warriors left. But overall, like we lost a lot in this battle. So good game to my opponent there. Let's take a look at the kill count. Sigvald netting 75 kills against Orc Biggins, and the Crimson Killers is not bad, and maintaining almost full hit points through it. Again, his regeneration is not bad. Now, if like Grimgor was fighting him the entire time instead of fighting his units, that's a different story. You can't regenerate through Grimgor's damage, but that didn't happen. So good for me. The Chaos Sorcerer Fire netting 55 kills. Did not have a single offensive spell. That is all from his new mount, the Manticore, which is crazy. They got a pretty big buff. Just in the fact that their Chaos casters can now mount Manticores is kind of a big deal. The Chaos Marauders, I decided to bring a couple of them because I had some money left over, and we have a lot of encouraging in this build now with the hero, or the Lord, the hero, and then the 3 aspiring champions. So I brought them. They didn't do too bad. They're really cheap. They're anti-armor. They did okay. They did as bad as well expected. Actually, they held a lot more than expected. So that's cool. Aspiring champions, they got kind of low kill counts, but I think these units are pretty good. I think they're pretty good. I'll go over them in a moment. The Forsaken, one of the groups did really well. This is the one that flanked around, killed the Rusty Arrows. This one was the one that was trying to tank the Black Orcs just because I had to throw something in against them, so they didn't do as well, but it's fine. Chaos Warriors with great weapons. They both did Well, this one did this one did pretty good. Horse Masters netting over 40 kills each. These things are 750? I think, and a lot of those kills were against the Orc Boarboy Biggins and Orc Biggins, so that's really a favorable trade. That's not bad. That is not bad. And this is my first time using any of these new units, and that's not bad. I may need to bring these guys more, because they do, I think, have an increased range over horsemen, as well as the increased damage and armor. So the increased range is kind of a big deal too. Chaos Trolls netting 45 kills is definitely pretty good, especially against Biggins and Black Orcs. And then the Pharaoh Manticore did 52 kills, but more importantly, it held a lot of units around it for a while so that they could be, well, out of the other parts of the battle and getting thrown at by our Marauder Horsemasters. Grimgor, 73 kills. Pretty good. Nigama Shaman, 2 kills, but his spells are really nasty. Orc Biggin Line did really well. The Black Orcs did pretty good. Crimson Killers netted 75 kills. I'm not sure who they were killing. I saw them fighting Sigvald. Probably some Chaos Marauders and Aspiring Champions. Probably a mix, and then also Chaos Warriors, I'd imagine. Goblin Archers getting 14 kills is not bad. Not bad at all. Same thing with the Rusty Arrows. I'm glad I was able to shut them down with our pretty fast Forsaken. Orc Boys did not get to do much. They were just kind of dealt with our Manticores and the Marauder Horse Masters for the most part. And the Squikers got some decent amount of kills before they routed off. These Squikers, man, they're pretty strong. There are a lot of angry little balls of fury for how cheap they are. They are, I think, a really good addition for the greenskins. So let's take a quick look at the Chaos here, and then we'll watch the cinematic view. So, I already have it up here. So this is a build that I think you're probably going to be seeing a lot in more serious play, people who really want to win. It's going to be a Chaos Lord on a Chaos Dragon. Now, you may think, like, well, why not bring a Chaos Sorcerer on a Dragon? Well, because basically you're going to have the spells you need with the heroes. So the Chaos Sorcerers on a dragon, also their melee stats are not as impressive as just a Chaos Lord on a zombie dragon is. You can see the stat change here is going to be higher for the Chaos Lord. So he's cheaper when mounted on a dragon as compared to when these are mounted on a dragon. So I think he's going to definitely be something you see a lot. Mixed in with him, since the zombie dragons are fire-breathing monsters, you're probably always going to see a Chaos Sorcerer of Fire. Also, Chaos Sorcerers of Fire, or any fire magic for that matter, is I think one of the strongest lores in this game. So a Chaos Sorcerer of Fire with the Kindle Flame is going to make anything that deals fire damage that much stronger, including the Chaos Lord. Also, if you, of course, couple that with the Flaming Sword of Ruin, which imbues everybody with magical and fire damage, so they're all doing bonus damage because of Kindle Flame. Like, the fire lore is just pretty strong. So I think you're always going to see him also mounted on his new fancy Manticore, because he is pretty crazy. The Manticore, as opposed to unmounted, you can see he gets a lot more speed. He does lose some melee attack and defense, which is pretty standard when you mount somebody on a giant beast. Their melee stats usually take a slight hit. But besides that, like, just the mobility of this unit and the fact that the Manticore gives him terror and fear. He has 85 speed. He can come in and strike from the sky, so he can fly over the infantry. Like, flying is really strong in this game. That's why Bretonia is so effective with their flying squad of doom. That's why Empire, same thing. Amber Wizard, Carl Franz, summoning Manticores, like, they're so strong for that specific reason, because you can put them anywhere you need them, and they all have, you know, fear and terror. So I think you're going to be seeing this. The Exalted Hero on the Manticore, I think, is going to be iffy, so we can actually nix him. You may see him, you may not. The Aspiring Champions, I think you're going to at least probably see 2, if not 3. And again, 3 is the max that you can actually bring in an army. These guys are really good. And then I think at least 2 Manticores. Another variation would be just 1 Manticore and they bring an Exalted Hero on the Manticore instead. And I think this is going to be a kind of a base build of what you're going to see in Chaos from now on. Now, besides this, who knows? You know, they can bring a Hell Cannon. They may bring a Hell Cannon. If Force Masters prove to be really good, then you're probably going to see at least one of those. And then, you know, just a mix of infantry here and there. Especially since, over time, the Chaos Infantry has been getting cheaper and cheaper, which they kind of needed, I think. So, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, the base build, I think, of what you're going to see in more of competitive play is going to be something that looks kind of like this. They're going to dominate the skies more often. This may be different against Bretonia. I don't know how strong the Air Force Doom Squad of Chaos is against the Doom Squad of Bretonia, because, damn it, King Lewin, Leon Kerr is a fucking beast. God, he is so good. The king is like the best thing in Bretonia. He makes Bretonia, honestly. But yeah, so I think that's what you're going to be seeing most of the time. These Aspiring Champions, something that, you know, actually let's cover that when we watch the cinematic. Let's do that right now. Now that I've talked about this. Let's dive back into the replays. The Aspiring Champions. They're a very low unit count, but their stats are amazing. They have magical damage, which means you guarantee to bring them against dwarves because of their new ethereal heroes, which are annoying as hell if you don't have any magical damage to deal with them. So Aspiring Champions is going to be good there. But what's also good is that the Aspiring Champions, I didn't notice this until I played this first battle and I watched the replay. I was like, oh shit. The Aspiring Champions are kind of like heroes in the fact that when they attack, they are disrupting enemy infantry. They actually attack in like an AoE around them and knock people down, kind of like, you know, what trolls do. So in my overview, when I mentioned these very briefly, how they were a mix of like elite infantry and monster infantry, that was actually kind of closer on the nose than I thought it was, because these bastards even have disrupting attacks, not maybe to the near extent of like, you know, like a Vargul or something, but it's still something that you have to consider. When they're mixed in the battle lines and they're attacking and throwing people on the ground because of it, that's pretty cool. Also, they look pretty cool. Let's get it up close here. Slow down, gentlemen. Slow down. Their armor looks pretty neat. They have the glow of like the Chosen do. Their swords look pretty sweet. Like they're a pretty cool looking unit. Pretty cool. And I know, or I'm pretty sure that CA recognizes the strength of them too, which is why they limited only 3 to an army. Because I'm like, damn, would I bring more than 3? Actually, would I bring more than 3? I don't know. Because you can't have an entire army of these guys. It's not going to work. Maybe 3 is just like the right number. Because they're so cheap, you can bring 3 and not really, or like still have a lot of money left over. I think these are a really great addition. And they just look really cool. Just really, really cool. But anyway, yeah, this is the cinematic view, right? Let's watch this action of these horse masters just chucking javelins into these orc boar boy biggins. The horse masters look pretty cool too. And considering they hold such a high speed still, even with the heavier armor, these guys may actually be worth it. They can fire while moving, which is also great for skirmishing cav. And I think that was also changed in this latest DLC. I don't believe the horsemen or the horsemen had fire while moving. I don't think they did, which is kind of what made them a little weak. Maybe they did. I don't know. Honestly, I didn't bring them enough to really know their stats and their strengths and weaknesses that much. All I knew is that they're kind of terrible.
Every man for himself.
But these horse masters may be a whole different story. I don't know. Skirmishing cav with increased range, fire while moving, decent armor to take a shot. Like, they may not be bad. They did some work in this battle alone, especially against this green skin matchup. You saw how well they did against Orc Boar Boy Biggins. They can kind of counter them pretty hardcore. Now, if this player brought some, Goblin Wolf Riders, if they had some means of actually catching the horsemen, then the Biggins would destroy them, obviously. But as long as they don't have any Wolf Riders, you're probably pretty good to be this kind of aggressive with your skirmishing. But even, like, the Wolf Riders have, what, a 92 in movement, whereas these have a 90? So, like, they may be able to chase off the Marauder Horsemen, but in most situations, they probably won't catch the Horsemen, unless you're not paying attention to your Horse Masters, or if you don't have them on skirmish or something like that. Those Goblins getting the hell out. Now, really, I wanted to get my Manticore out of this situation, but he was surrounded. So, just kind of have to go for it at that point. And again, unarmored trolls against Biggins, not really their ideal matchup. Armored trolls versus Biggins is a lot better for you, just because of the armor that they have. But since they're unarmored, not as good. Oh god. Being able to pick up an Orc Biggin one-handed still is pretty impressive.
Is that all you got?
I want to try to show you these Aspiring Champions' attacks. Where else? Are they fighting over here? No, I don't have any Aspiring Champions back in this Chaos Wars. There, you see that? How he did the swing and everybody fell back? It's kind of crazy. So each one of these models has the disruption of like a troll or, just a healer or something. Look at that. It's pretty nice. And here's that mobility of the Manticore riding Chaos Sorcerer. Just come in here, charge, do your fear, do your terror, and they can charge right back out again when the situation has been dealt with. Like, it's really good. It's really good. I don't know how much disruption they have against Black Orcs, though, because they're pretty high. Well, that's still not bad. Man, if these Aspiring Champions have fire attacks, too, oh my god. Oh, that would be amazing. Oh well, magical attacks is good. So these Crimson Killers actually didn't do as well against Sigvald as I thought they would, which makes me lead to believe that they don't actually get 2 attacks per attack, but they are just all about AoE. Because if it was 2 attacks per swing, then they would be doing double the damage against Sigvald, whereas they're just doing AoE instead. Because I would think being surrounded by Crimson Killers, Sigvald would be chewed to pieces if they... I'm trying to see his hit points. See, like, he's not really being affected that much. Now, he does have a pretty decent melee defense, too. But if they were actually getting 2 swings on a single target, instead of just 1, then I think he'd be getting torn to pieces. So, yeah, they must just do AoE kind of like Slayers. So their attacks only proccing once on him. they'd be super effective in like a group of armored soldiers. Is my guess. Again, I don't know. Still learning this. I hope that makes sense. The difference between 2 attacks against 1 target and just AoE. I'm sure it does. Yeah, we're running in these horse smashers because they are now out of ammunition, so I wanted to try and break the morale of this pocket of resistance here. So charging them from the rear is a way that you can do that. I do leave them in combat a little too long, though. So they start to get picked apart by these Orc Biggins and the Crimson Killers that are still around. Also Grimgor. Of course, Grimgor. Actually, yeah, I guess you can kind of see it there. One attack hit this one person, the other hit these 2. Judging by their reactions. Alright. Honestly, I would prefer it to be the other way around. I prefer 2 attacks against a single target. I think that could be potentially more brutal. Well, no. I guess it's just situations where you're dealing with heroes that are more brutal. I guess the other way is better than AoE. Yeah, what am I saying? That is better. Weird. Oh, okay. You know what? These people were flying back maybe because he didn't beat their melee defense. There we go. I'm starting to notice like some of their attacks when they do it aren't really as disruptive as others are. It's like hit or miss. Or maybe just because they're literally missing their target. There's our Chaos Sorcerer having a fun time back here with some Forsaken. Riding these Orc Biggins. Mobility, man, it's a strong thing in a game like this. Being able to respond really quickly to threats. Grimgor tearing up some Chaos Warriors.
We need slaves.
Oh, he won that one. Okay. Grimgor won that exchange. I don't think this Spartan champion is getting up because his head is right there. Alright, well, Grimgor can beat out an aspiring champion, proven right here. If you were all wondering, he wins that duel. Damn. That aspiring champion just got wrecked. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the episode, everybody. I will see you next time. The additions to the Chaos roster seem to be pretty solid. Even these Horse Masters proved to be better than I thought they were going to be initially. So I'll have to do some more testing with them. But the aspiring champions definitely, I think, are very cool, and the Manticore is, well, cool for reasons I've already spoken about. Have a good day, everybody. Take care.